Hi, my name is Zimon Kerak. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm the co-founder and executive director of Grand Rapids Trans Foundation. If you're not familiar with us, we're a volunteer-run nonprofit created by and for trans people with the aim of removing barriers and building equity for the local trans and non-binary community right here in Kent County, Michigan. Over the past 6 years, we've given out over $50,000 in academic scholarships, helped over 50 trans folks legally update their names, and partnered on countless gender-affirming events here in town. Our board of directors is 100% trans, our scholarship selection committees are 100% trans, and our main focus is helping other trans folks. Tonight, we're premiering a short film that we're really excited about. We want to thank filmmaker Lando Lomasny, who directed and edited this film, as well as his awesome film crew. The world would have us believe that transness is a burden for us to bear, or an endless string of tragedy narratives. And while we cannot deny that our community faces many challenges and has been increasingly targeted, especially for trans folks who live at the intersection of multiple marginalized identities, we believe that we're more than tragedy narratives. Our lives are filled with beauty, expansiveness, creativity, found family, authenticity, and joy. For many of us, our transness feels like a gift. And it's this brightness that we share with you today. We hope you enjoy Trans Euphoria, a pleasant film on trans joy. Thank you.
Too often there's this overarching dominant narrative of tragedy in regards to trans people, and opposing that is really what I feel like the philosophy of Trans Euphoria is all about. Like fighting back against this idea of just exclusively hardship and trauma in the trans community, because I love being trans. It's great, and no one gets to take that away from me. So that is what Trans Euphoria means to me.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I heard that word first today, and so I thought about it on the drive over. And I guess it just, I don't know, just looks like trans folks just getting to be happy, whatever that means for them.
Trans euphoria to me means seeing my transness as a gift.
Happiness, that balance that you have when you're finally who you think you are in your mind and everyone else perceives it and it's just okay, no questions asked.
Trans euphoria means to me to be actually comfortable in my own skin.
Being able to confuse cis people by just walking and talking and being myself.
Being able to be black and trans and feel safe in all spaces, being intimate with somebody and knowing that I can authentically be myself and it not be something that is weird or odd. It's being at the beach and feeling like me and the water is connected. It's breathing. That's what that feels like to me.
For me, trans euphoria means being able to exist and wake up and thrive consistently and day by day in a world that constantly reassures me that I shouldn't.
In its simplest form, just get up every day and exist in the greater world as I have always known myself.
It's a feeling of the multiplicities that I hold inside of myself, translating outside of myself.
Yeah. Yep, just actually an hour ago, I took my first tea shot.
We had a little picnic outside. It was social distance. We all had our masks on. But just getting together, I think there were like 2 cis people in that whole gathering. But knowing that I was around queer and trans people who are all my friends, people who I've spent so many years with, who have seen me develop and turn into the person I am today. That experience of community, the experience of sharing a meal, those things that seem so simple and so like secondhand almost to straight and cis people, just as a trans person, I just treasure them.
I was shooting a video with a bunch of trans folk. Everyone involved, from the performers to the composer of the music for it, was trans. During that full day of hanging out with people, I never felt questioned. It was never even a conversation that needed to be had. It's just like we were existing in the atmosphere of truth, and nobody needed to explain anything.
It's literally every time after I've had testosterone, being able to have a deep voice and maybe pass more androgynous, I guess. One of my biggest things is wearing dresses, and I love them so much. Every time that I wear one, I just feel more comfortable in my skin now than I've ever felt ever.
When a child stares in awe, like there's that difference between like staring that's like rude and staring that's like that moment of recognition. And those I feel like are powerful moments for me.
When I go to pride festivals or events and there's lots of other queer and trans people there, and especially the younger ones, I really love being a part of my community and seeing my community and celebrating my community, and that feeling that I get from being around my community, really, if I could just bottle it up and just wear it around my neck to keep me strong through the hard times. Like, trans euphoria is fleeting, but those moments are what make life worth living.
Ooh. So there's one time I can definitely say, like, yes, it was the first time I ever wore a dress out in public. And me and my friends were at this gay conference down in Indiana, because why not? And I remember just everyone being super supportive, and then even when people were giving me dirty looks on the streets, I was still very sure about myself, and I'm like, no, I'm a badass bitch, and you can't say nothing because you're just a hater and you basic. And I think that was one of the moments where I was just like, oh yeah, I'm definitely non-binary. Like, I can't just do that cis thing because fuck that all foolishness.
A time I felt gender euphoria was when I got the go-ahead to have top surgery. It took 8 letters, a year of going to doctors, and when I finally got the go-ahead, I was so happy. I let all of my friends know, I marked it in my calendar, and it was a really good moment to know that I can finally get to a point that I had been looking forward to for so long.
For me, I think one of my greatest ones was the first time that I walked into my makeup presenting authentically, and being treated with such respect and dignity, regardless of anything else people might have been thinking. And it brought this sense of calm and of it felt right.
One of the things I love to do is take pictures, and also, like, not only of other things, but having people take pictures of me really helps, because then finally seeing what my body looks like and then learning which angles work and which one doesn't, I think that really helps me get in a better space, because sometimes my body can feel dreadful and I hate it and it feels more like a cage, but other points I'm like, okay, how do I tame this demon and really make myself feel the most comfortable with what I'm given? So photo shoots are my thing. I love it to death.
Yes, I love playing with makeup. I love cosplay. I love doing hair and makeup. That's actually one of my careers that the Trans Foundation actually gave to me. So I am very happy that I'm able to actually do what I love and be able to experiment with my gender and just be euphoric every day.
Yeah, handsome is definitely a word that brings that euphoria out in me.
got into building a classic motorcycle and dabbling in high voltage electronics, actually. The high voltage stuff scares me a little more than it used to, but the motorcycle I still very, very much enjoy, and I'm looking for another project. And it's not, I think, gender related anymore, but it was a distraction previous to that, and it's something that I decided that I really liked.
I love playing video games as well as tabletops like D&D. It is a lot of fun to be able to make a character and explore both gender and looks and feelings. And the best part about that is that you can share it with other people. Like, I play video games with my friends, and we all have so much fun of being things we aren't, but being things we are.
Write for games, and I help run a podcast, and I really enjoy playing tabletop role-playing games. So I'm in a few D&D games. I'm in a Bubble Gumshoe game, which is like Teen Detectives. I'm like helping make a game, which is fun. So doing that kind of stuff, just like getting to be creative and like make whatever I want, is fun without like anyone telling me what to do, because it's my thing.
Writing, performing, and all I think that community work is a kind of creativity too. So whenever I get to work with different people like this.
I mean, I do a lot of activism and like organizing around the trans community in like where I live, and I really just try to channel that euphoria into that so that I can try and make it a better place for trans people who are here and trans people to come.
Going on hikes, being out in the woods, obviously being by the water for me is a big, big thing. And just being around safe people. I work with at the Pride Center with the youth group, and I'm actually the chair of the TGNC. And so being around the youth and seeing like kids that were my age and confused, being able to get on hormones and having talks about surgery, that really makes me feel good about like myself and like, what I can do to help them and stuff like that. So yeah, that's when I really feel good.
I think my work as an activist, as a member of Grand Rapids Trans Foundation, those things are where like that trans joy shows up. I think the best thing I can do with my joy is weaponize it, and just like use it to crush the structures that hold us back, right? And so the best way to do that is through community work.
Yeah, I think I would add what I love about being trans, and specifically non-binary, is like being in the middle, in the sense of like being a wrench thrown in the stupid gender construct machine, like a middle finger.
As a trans individual, I've existed in this world in a few different states, I guess. And I know that that's an experience that's unique to trans people. I'm consider myself a very binary person. And so I lived for a vast majority of my life where the greater world saw me as a male. And then I had a period in between where the world saw me as they didn't quite know. And then I now am existing in the world as my authentic self and as female. And to see how the world interacts when you're across that spectrum, there's an insight and a value to that, I think, when you exist as a human, that you can bring forth, I think, more ideas, more thoughts, and help communicate and bridge those gaps with people. And I think that's an experience that only trans people can get.
It allows us to envision a world that asks the question, instead of this, why not that? And I think that's like the essence of potentiality and the essence of utopianism. By nature, I think being trans is just the ability to give people the joy of the possible.
Non-binary people are my favorite. I identify as non-binary and transmasculine, and I think that to think outside of the binary even is very, very powerful and just freeing and stuff like that. So yeah, I think that's what I like the most about being trans.
Dressing like a cartoon character. always.
I don't know, it's cool to just like get to be yourself and have other people be excited about it.
The family and the love and the support that I could never, ever imagine in my entire life, and the support that they've given me just makes me so happy, as well as like the self-confidence that they've also given me.
I fucking love being trans. I love being trans. I feel my best when I'm wearing what I would call my power outfits and what others might call dad clothes.
One of the things I love most is the community and meeting other people like me and just being like that solidarity moment of being like, oh, you get it too. And then I think there's a real consideration of like how to actually interact with you instead of just making an assumption like, oh, that's another cis whatever. Like whenever I meet other trans people in the community, it's like, oh, I get it, and that's me too, and I love that.
I think my favorite thing about being trans is looking at my friends and myself and knowing that we are so much happier living as we are versus living as who we never used to be. And it means so much to me that we are alive and we get to share our moments together versus a world where cis people think we shouldn't exist and live to be happy. And existing and being happy with each other are the best things that we can do in this society, and that makes me the happiest.
My name is Esperanza de Carlos Garay Negron, and I use they, them, and she, her pronouns.
I'm Chief. I use he, him, and they, them pronouns.
My name is Jackson Atlas Hawk, and I use they, them pronouns.
My name is Finn Michelle Marks, and I use he, him, and they, them pronouns.
I'm Austin. My pronouns are he, they, she.
My name is Liam Jones, and I go by he, they pronouns.
Yeah, Ellie, she, her.
My name is Rachel Gleason, and my pronouns are they, them.
My name is Artemis, and I use they, them pronouns.
My name is Sprout, aka KFG, and my pronouns are they, them, their.
Thank you for joining us for this debut of Trans Euphoria, a pleasant film on trans joy. Please visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and our website, grtransfoundation.org, to learn more and support the work that we're doing to build trans equity. From all of us here at the Foundation, wishing you love and joy.